Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, and we are back for part 4.
Yeah, we're so back, Brad. DC is here with us. Guys, I gotta be honest with you. I've been looking forward to this conversation probably the most. The Rock's he's had a great wrestling career, historic, legendary. But he's also done much more outside of the ring. I think he was a trailblazer, quite frankly, in many respects, for the John Cena's and Dave Bautista's that would follow him into Hollywood. Guys, you know what time it is. It's part 4. It's the finale. We are talking The Rock in Hollywood, specifically his television and film career. DC, before we clicked record, we were kind of prepping for this conversation. We've looked at the IMDb. We've looked at the filmography pages. The Rock has, if I'm looking at this correctly, 37 film credits to his name. It's been a tremendous career in that regard. Uber successful. DC, we're kicking it off to you. Wherever you want to take this, brother. You are our special guest. Do we want to talk about the good, the bad, or maybe the ugly?
I feel like the bad and ugly, I think, is going to be more of the conversation, at least on my end. But I want to start off on a more positive note because he has 2 movies, right, that I think are extremely underrated. Now, one of the movies, being a dad and watching a lot of family movies, watching movies with the kids that are kid friendly, which is hard these days. Because you watch PG-13 sometimes, and there's parts I'm like, what? Fast forward, like even sometimes on PG-13. So like you gotta be careful. But there's there's one movie that I watched with the kids that not only they enjoyed, but I really enjoyed. And I watched it for the first time. So the movie came out in 2007, and it was called The Game Plan.
Knew that's what
right?
I knew that. Yep.
So like very underrated movie, right?
Agreed.
Like I was kind of blown away by it, honestly. Like, I'm going in not having high expectations, but my son, who is also a big wrestling fan, we're scrolling the movies and he sees this. I don't remember which app it is. We probably have a problem. We have like all the movie apps, so
I feel you.
All kind of options.
Like $800 a month on
exactly
streaming services. Yeah,
it's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
But we're scrolling the movies, trying to find something to watch, and my son sees this movie, The Game Plan, with The Rock. The Rock's on the cover, and he's like, let's watch this. It's The Rock. I'm like, all right, it's kid-friendly. At least it says it is, so let's do it. Blown away by the movie. Like, great story. The actors in it. So if anybody doesn't know what The Game Plan about, it's basically a daughter basically just shows up. He's a professional football player, and this girl just like shows up. And The Rock is her dad. And, he's this arrogant guy. He's a prick, nowhere near ready to raise a kid. And he's like forced to raise this kid, right? And it hit home for me being a single dad at the age of 20. So, like, this is a movie that resonates with me. Just watching, The Rock kind of be corny, right? I mean, this is a corny role, honestly.
Yes.
But, like, he played corny really well in this movie. I thought it was a great movie, great story, and it resonated with me. So, underrated movie, I want to start with that. With The Game Plan. Another underrated movie that I wanted to bring up to you fellas. So I might get a little bit of hate on this one because a lot of people hate this movie, but the year before that, 2006, it's a biographical sports drama football movie called The Gridiron Gang.
No hate at all. That's
okay, good.
Great shout. DC.
People for some reason hate this movie, and I'm like,
really? I think it's arguably his most underrated.
Thank you. Like I've watched this movie like 3 times. I'm like, great acting. Like I didn't even know Exhibit was that good of an actor. Like very underrated character, and like him and The Rock played really well together.
They did their thing.
So I wanted to start off with that before we even got into the rest and bring those. I don't know how you guys feel, but 2 underrated films: The Game Plan and Gridiron Gang for me.
I'm gonna say something here that will probably. This is how you probably haven't seen this movie, and maybe I'm wrong here. 2005, Be Cool. That character The Rock played is so different than anything else he's ever done.
True.
That I love it because it's so different. I thought he was great in that movie. That movie sucks, but like I thought he was great in that movie. Like absolutely, totally different than anything else. Because I think one of the criticisms in this are he gets Tom Cruise and Adam Sandler criticism in that he's just Tom Cruise or Adam Sandler in those movies. He's The Rock in all of the movies. He's not this other character. I can't look at him and go like, oh, you're definitely you've invested yourself so into this role that you've become the character. No, it's like it's just The Rock reading those lines. Um, I saw it in the movie. I don't care if it's cheesy and kind of corny. I loved Central Intelligence. I laughed a lot in that movie.
Really? I did not
Yes.
expect this. Plot twist.
No, I really liked that movie because I
joint with
knew
Kevin
it was
Hart, right? Yeah.
yeah, I knew
saw
it
in
was
the
like
theater.
it's a spoof. It's a farce. It's like it's fine. Like it's going to be corny, like just by its nature. But having him be like this trained killer quasi stalker because he has low self-esteem is it's just so strange. Like you, DC, you know, we watched Jumanji, had to go to the nostalgic route, and even though it's totally different, and random appearance by a couple of stars in this movie, including I can't even remember Tom Cruise's son's name, but he's in it at the end. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it since 2017. But like everything after that is like you got Rampage, Skyscraper, Fast and the Furious Part 29 that we didn't need, Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise was okay, actually. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
Okay.
It was, I saw it. So it's how I felt about Black Adam. I went, all right, so that's done.
Yeah.
I don't know how you have Shazam's biggest rival not fight Shazam. I don't understand that at all, but okay. But you got to go back to The Mummy Returns and think about how awful that CGI is. Because I just remembered, like, I remember thinking, why would the filmmakers think, you know what this guy needs? This mummy that's also half scorpion that comes out of a wall to fight. He needs to hit them in bad CGI with the people's eyebrow. Like, what are they doing there? Just dreadful. But I do enjoy a lot of his movies, but I go into them with low expectations because they're usually big budget popcorn things. And again, I'm going in there for the spectacle. If I know what I'm going to be watching, not to go for high art, but I'm really, really happy that he wants to push himself because I think it's there. I feel like I saw it and Be Cool. So I want to see what he does next. If he goes into a different role, kind of like, I don't know if you guys saw Glass Onion. I loved Batista in that movie because he wasn't just like this big hitman or whatever else. He was kind of getting played by everybody and he was sort of a dork. And I loved that because it was so different for him. So I'm excited to see what he does with that. Otherwise, he does have the, I think, 15 of the 20 Fast and the Furious movies in some combination, plus the spin-off movie. So yeah, he's done a lot of that.
I think it's my turn now.
That was me passing that. I didn't have anything nice to say, so I thought I'd give it to you.
Yeah. So for DC, kick this off with underrated. Gridiron Gang is my choice there. Guys, I have so much great to say, particularly about the year of 2018 in the film career of one Dwayne Johnson. He released Rampage that year. I'm looking at the poster right now. It's at the top. It says Big Meets Bigger. It's like this huge like gorilla and then The Rock underneath him. And the plot is when 3 different animals become infected with a dangerous pathogen, primatologist and a geneticist team up to stop them from destroying Chicago. I really enjoyed that movie. I saw it in the theater. And then later that year, one of my favorite DJ films, Skyscraper, came out. I think Brad mentioned this. I'm just a total sucker for The Rock as the action hero. Obviously, he is, one of the biggest draws in Hollywood, or at least during this time frame. Certainly was. I love both of those films. Baywatch also was a hit for me. I saw that in the theater too. I don't know about you guys, but my expectations were pretty low going into it. And I think him and Zac Efron, ironically, also wrestling actor now, Zac Efron, had some good chemistry there. If I had to choose my favorite, though, Brad knows me too well. I'm going with the Fast and Furious, more specifically The Rock's debut in Fast 5 in 2011. It was just great. And to play kind of a foil to Vin Diesel, I thought was super effective. I'm really high on The Rock's acting career, but I think he was a great addition to my favorite film franchise, which is the Fast and Furious.
That was the around the start of the goatee phase.
Yes,
for Pocket Hollywood.
It really was
really short, tight goatee.
the evolution of the facial hair
Yes.
of The Rock over the years.
It was so fine. It's so short.
Did you guys see Fighting with My Family? The
Yeah.
story of Paige, aka Soraya. I never saw that, but it is one of his more higher rated films. Granted, he doesn't play as big of a central role in that film, but really, really appreciate, and maybe this is a separate conversation, but then I want to pass it to you, DC. What I really appreciate about The Rock is that he's big on ownership and being an entrepreneur, and obviously, starting his $7 production company, buying the rights to the XFL. I thought it was cool that, in my opinion, he tries to put other people on as well and have, various streams of income, which is personally inspiring. And I just thought that's been a really neat element of his career, is that it hasn't just been about him, but he also owns his own production company, and they're doing cool things there. Final thing I want to say before I pass it off to DC, before I forget, maybe even ahead of the Fast and Furious, I love HBO Ballers.
Yeah, Ballers.
That ran from 2015 to 2019. Based on what I'm seeing, his highest rated appearance at a 7.8. I think if we're looking for where can Dwayne Johnson's acting chops be seen the most consistently, for me it's Ballers. I think it's his best work, and I just really enjoyed that show.
I thought it was going to get to me without mentioning Ballers. I was literally sitting here like, I hope it does not get to me without mentioning Ballers, because
let's go, we're ready.
100% agree. Ballers is by far The Rock's greatest work as an actor. It's not even close. Ballers, literally top to bottom, all the appearances in it, co-starring. Became a big fan of Denzel's son as an actor in that.
Yeah, John David Washington. That's right.
On, like that show is phenomenal. If you haven't seen Ballers yet, definitely check it out. I mean, it's on everywhere now. It's on Netflix. Yep. It's on HBO Max. Check it out.
It's really good. Playing a sports agent, like familiar, right? We know The Rock came up as a football player, but the character of Spencer Strassmore and how layered he is, and coming to grips with his playing days being over. I thought it was a great role for him. It sounds like you agree, DC.
Completely. 100%. And I don't remember. I don't know his name because I'm terrible with actors' names, but the guy from Hot Tub Time Machine, that's his other guy that sells. That's also a sports agent. I forget his name.
Yes, we know who you're talking about, right?
He phenomenal in that show as well, but definitely his best work. And 100% agree. But in terms of movies, it's a tie for me. And I say that because one is a kid's movie. So there's probably not a lot of kids watching this, but as a dad, Moana.
It's Moana.
It's Moana.
It's Moana. And he will be, if the rumors are true and the rumors are coming out of his mouth, he will be reprising his role as Maui, as live action Maui, when they film the live action Moana. So he's the only one that can play that role. He looks the part. He is that sound. He's been performing it at interviews and stuff. So 100% it's Moana.
Literally did that in his promo, just the other night. What can I say except you're welcome? Literally throwing that in wrestling promos. Like, come on, Moana as
Lin-Manuel music too. Oh yeah,
yes, phenomenal. But
yes, shout out to his character fighting 7 of 9 in Deep Space Nine though. Real deep cut. He just showed up, didn't say a word, fought one of the characters, died. The end. That was it. I thought it was so random. It was on TV, and I'm like, is that The Rock? That might have been before the Mummy too, the Scorpion King. Yeah, I have or Mummy, is it? Yeah, Mummy Returns, right? Is when Scorpion King debuted. The second one. Yeah. I think it might have been either that time or pre that he had a cameo in Star Trek. So looking at just his movies, I didn't see it on this list. I was looking through and I'm like, where is it? But it's Moana.
Yeah, great shout, fellas. What a great conversation. What a great series. DC, we are so grateful that you joined us. Before we get out of here, man, you're everywhere. You're talking wrestling, you're talking baseball, your two passions in life. Where can we follow and support you?
Yeah, and to believe it or not, neither one of those are my main job. So I don't know how I find time.
Versatile,
man. Got my hands in a lot of different bags, but I write for dailyddt.com, which is a fan-sided website. I basically just give opinionated articles. I try to predict the future in wrestling. I do a lot of NXT stuff because NXT is my favorite brand. So I do a lot of NXT stuff. I got work there. I do Monday Night Raw post show each and every Monday night. It's called Monday Night Besties with Amanda Savage. That's with bodyslam.net. Love doing that show. Have a wrestling podcast called WrestleHolics with a couple buddies of mine here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And yeah, I write about baseball. I'm a credentialed baseball writer covering the Cleveland Guardians. Yeah, I'm all over the place, all over.
Let's go. That's amazing, Brad. What a great guest that we had. DC is really out here. So proud of you, man. I was telling you beforehand that not only following your work, right? Great recent NXT article that you wrote, but also seeing how you share that love of baseball and wrestling with your son, with your family. It's really inspiring, and we just encourage everyone to show love to DC. He is legit. He is knowledgeable, as you can tell. He is just definitely one of our favorite guests that we've had.
Shout out to you guys too, though, man. I mean, did you guys get like nominated for awards and stuff? Like, shout out to you guys.
Oh, yeah, we're outside.
I'm putting on too, so
trying to get on your level.
Yeah, trying.
Thanks, DC. I have a great co-host. Makes my role easy.
It's true. I am the best. Yeah, so got to stay humble.
That's the great one. Well, everyone listening, thank you so much. We hope you are as excited about WrestleMania season as we are. Hopefully this was a fitting tribute for one of the biggest stars on this year's card. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope you'll join us for the next one. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.